All right, guys, so check this out. I can't wipe the smile off my face. I just put 100 miles on my Raptor. I'm gonna kind of tell you guys all about this thing. We're gonna do my standard mile per gallon loop. But what I can tell you is, this thing is just silly. I have not had a Raptor R before, so for those that have, this is seriously the most cartoonish vehicle I've ever owned. You got this big suspension, it rides great, it's this nice interior, and then you add the power, it's like a cartoon. Truly hilarious. All right, let's go do a drive review. No cold start here, motor's warm, but see the lighting? Got the startup theme here. Got the nice heads-up display. So I've already put, literally I got 120 miles on it. I don't know how to put words to this thing. This thing is hilarious. It is, it's pretty much mix a Raptor with the GT500. Pretty much nails it. You've got all this power. The thing revs like mad. I've not had an engine that revs up so high at the RPMs and just keeps pulling. That's the biggest difference I'd say between my Ecoboost. The Ecoboost has got great power. Even the TRX, I've driven a bunch of TRXs. That's got great power too. But the TRX and the Ecoboost, the way the power, it kind of signs off when you get around 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs. Not this thing. So here's a view that's really cool. This is called Performance View. And you've got your tack on the outside, transmission gear on the middle, speed on the right. I really like this. It also shows what the status of transfer case is. And then on the left, I've got selected coolant, intake air temp, supercharger PSI or boost, and then your distance till empty. I just filled the truck up, so I'm gonna be calculating in the future. I'm gonna do a road trip, and I'm really curious to see what kind of fuel mileage we get with this thing. So just having a baseline. For today's drive review and first impressions of a drive, I'm gonna make sure to put this in normal mode. It's in normal mode. We're going to reset our fuel economy, trip 1. We're gonna go for the first drive in the 2024 Raptor R. Let's go. So we're gonna do our standard loop that we do all the time with several different vehicles, which is about 17 miles. So some of the things now, like I said, I've got a little bit of seat time in this truck. What would I say? The suspension is really, really smooth. This truck rides and drives awesome. My last Gen 3 Raptor 2021 was a 35 package Raptor with 37-inch factory tires. A truck drove great. This is technically a 37 package truck with the Raptor R powertrain, but I actually think this truck handles the road and feels even better than my 21 did. And so I don't know if that's part of the 37 package or if that's more part of the new dual valve shocks, but anyhow, it does feel good. Transmission shifting, I haven't had one weird shift, one hang up, one flare, nothing. By far, so far, this is the smoothest 10-speed transmission from Ford I have owned on a vehicle. The paddle shifting works awesome, very instantaneous, so I like that feature. Power, the delivery is incredible, no issues there. I really like that. It's gonna be thirsty. This thing's gonna drink a lot more fuel than a standard Raptor. Just for perspective, I'm barely into the throttle. You can hear the supercharger a little bit, not like a TRX. It's definitely a little quieter, but it goes through the gears really good. One of the things that really surprised me about the Raptor R versus the TRX is the TRX hits really hard right off the get. I don't know how to explain it. The instantaneous punch, it just hits you hard in the face. This doesn't have as hard of an instantaneous hit, but the mid and top range of how this motor pulls, it feels like, I've never owned a race car, but like it feels more race car like. Definitely more high RPM centric. So normal mode, right out of the box, 70 mile an hour. I'd say 70 decibel in exhaust normal mode. Now we're gonna change the exhaust to quiet and let's see how much of a difference it makes. It's noticeable already on my end. I'm gonna say it's about 2 decibels lighter than the normal mode. Now let's go to sport mode. You can immediately hear it in the cabin. Jumps about 2-3 decibels. extremely noticeable now. Now we're in Baja mode. Another 3 decibels. So you almost see a 2-3 decibel meter difference with all 3 options. Now let's open up the moonroof, the sunroof. I wanted to have that closed because that helps with sound. So here's why I'm not a big fan of decibel meter readings. So right here, let's turn off the exhaust. Now we're in quiet mode. Notice the difference, it's huge. All right, now I'm gonna move the decibel meter down here. Now I'll put it up here. Guys, it's like a 3-4 decibel meter difference between moving my mic from the window to down here. This is why I'm not a fan. And so you have to be super consistent with these things. That's why I was holding it in the same spot, trying to do the same throttle input. We're at the halfway point of this loop, and it's been a minute since I've had a vehicle with the lane keeping system, and you get really spoiled by that. The safety of it, the convenience of it, man, is it really nice to have. And I haven't played with any of the settings beyond what it came from the factory so far, but just at the nominal settings it came with, it feels pretty good. I don't notice any jerkiness. It feels a little more refined than I recall on my 21 Raptor. So here's your fuel economy at about a consistent 70, no hypermiling. I would say you're about at 14, 15 miles per gallon. Not as bad as I would have thought, actually. Kind of interesting. I'll be real curious to see where this thing lands. And actually, it's going to be funny to kind of compare this to some of the Super Duties with the 7.3 liter gas V8 to kind of see how they compare. I've got the exhaust currently in normal mode. I'm going to now go through the exhaust sounds with the same throttle inputs. I'll start with quiet. Normal, Sport, Baja. You can see a difference between all 3. I had constant acceleration, and I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I've noticed a few burbles and cracks in the exhaust on decel. Sounds really cool. I'm hoping that happens more as the engine breaks in and the exhaust system and everything breaks in. If that's going to be a feature of this exhaust system, that's going to be amazing. Let's see if we can put the side cameras on going down the road. Got the rear facing. That's cool. So I am going down the road, both sides of my truck right now. Full view not available. Hitch cargo view. Very cool. I'm glad you can do all these going down the road. And hitch view, nice. So I am hands-free right now. Hands are off the steering wheel. Let's see if this does lane centering. Sure does. I am lane centering around this corner. Very cool. It's not Blue Cruise. It's telling me keep my hands on the steering wheel right now, but man, that's still really good. And I would definitely put it as good as my 21 Raptor was with the lane centering or Copilot 360 Assist 2.0. I'm not sure the name they have for it, but that's what it used to be called on the prior generation. So in a lot of my videos, when I come to a stop, I add in what the start-stop sequence is so you can kind of see how the engagement of the engine is. But oh wait, it's a Raptor R. No button up here, no start-stop in this one. It just chugs fuel at the intersection. It does not have that feature, which is okay. I don't think it'd be very noticeable in a big heavy vehicle like this. I don't know how much fuel you'd actually save. Acceleration, I would definitely put it under light acceleration. It reminds me very much of similar acceleration levels to like a Coyote F-150, the amount of power it makes. I'm not into any boost. Like you could see I was accelerating there and I'm basically at 0 PSI. So the supercharger's not giving you any benefit at the acceleration levels I was coming out of a stop sign at. So that would make sense that it would feel very much like a Coyote, because it'd feel like a Coyote without a supercharger at that level of acceleration if the supercharger is not pushing any boost, if that makes sense to you. So here's the Raptor status, kind of to see the different settings. You can see the transfer cases in too high. There's trips. Let's see, tire pressure is all 40 PSI. There's your oil pressure at an idle, 28 PSI. There's your trans temps. You can see it looks like the trans temp goes all the way up to whatever that is, 230, 240, something like that, before you start having any heat. And I've noticed if you just rev the engine up a little bit, there we go. So there we go, just barely into the throttle, and I'm at 70, 80, now almost 95 PSI. It's nice seeing oil pressure that high. You know it's definitely helping with lubrication in the internals. There's acceleration. You can see 0 pounds of boost, and I was at like 1,800 to 2,400 RPMs. There we go, 12.9 miles per gallon for the lube. Not terrible, very similar to the Super Duty with the 7.3. So what's my overall opinion on the Raptor R so far? I mean, I only got 100 miles on this truck, but the livability, it just has more power than a regular Raptor. And I think the regular Raptor is a pretty livable vehicle by itself. So I think anybody that's interested in one of these and gonna put kids in car seats or use for all around use, no problem. Just gonna burn a little bit more fuel doing it. First drive review, not too bad, 12.9 miles per gallon. I figure honestly, this is gonna be about a 10, 11 mile per gallon truck, whereas a standard Raptor is probably more in the 14 mile per gallon range, but absolutely livable. And here's something else that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna see if there's a supplemental manual because it wasn't in here. Maybe it's somewhere else, but watch this. Go to fuel. I went through all these settings, selecting correct fuel, 87 octane. And it talks about for best overall performance, 91 or higher, towing, all that jazz, do not use E85. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video. First drive review. Honestly, I don't really know how to put words in this. Thing's just hilarious. I've had only one real fast car, and it's all relatively fast. I had a Z06 back in the day, and it was pretty quick. But what's fun is you can put your family in this thing, go off-road, get some lumber, and it's comical. This thing is absolutely hilariously fun to drive. So I hope you enjoy this video. More fun stuff to come. Thanks for watching.